everyone, it's Tammy Klinger here, also known as Tambarambaa, and today I'm sharing another art journal page with you. This one is for Art by Marlene, and it's a gorgeous black and white background, very grungy with lots of colours with flowers. So I'm just running quickly through what I've used, but I will take you through them as I'm doing it. So from my perfect size album, which is ABM ESJOURO4, I grab out a couple of pages, and then I'm actually using a piece of plastic packaging, and this is called a smooshing technique. It's a very technical term. Basically just added a bit of black paint, which is called pitch, and I've popped a bit on the plastic packaging, added some water, and then just sort of moved it around a bit, and then turned it upside down and tapped it over my page. So I kind of kept it in the bottom left and top right corner, and then a little bit around the edges. And now what I'm doing, just to come in, and at the moment I'm building layers. So I'm building, I'm only really working with black and white, but it's still important to have interest and layers in there. So this is using a Crafters Workshop stencil that Marlene designed, and it's called TCW780, and it's Botanical Dream, I think it's called. And what I'm doing is I'm laying that down and concentrating around the edges, sponging some black paint through that stencil. Okay, now I'm creating more layers with the stamp, and I'm using this awesome ABM BB stamp 126, which is called Bold Butterflies. And first I used the script stamp, and I just popped that around the edges a bit. I didn't use a block because I wanted it to look sort of natural and not be perfectly square. And then I also came in with the little, what do you call that netting, I don't know what that's called, shape, and also the tally stamp as well, and focusing, as you can see, around the edges. And then what I did quickly is just added some black paint around the edge, just using a sponge again. Okay, so now I've grabbed the stamp, ABM BB stamp 125, called Text Play, and it's got some cute little borders in it. So I've used one of those borders to pop a few little bits, or actually use both of the borders to again add some detail and some interest. And it's got lots of gorgeous words in it, and I've grabbed out a few, and I'm just popping them repeatedly in little sections around my page. So I've used the word artist, I've used be brave, I've used hold on, and you matter. Okay, so then I've grabbed some paper, some of the all-round paper of Marlene's paper BM02, so that's the A5 size, and I'm going to stamp some flowers onto it. And I'm using my beautiful Studio Light stamp press, which makes life so easy. But the stamp I'm actually using is ABM BB stamp 122. And you can see I've popped my paper in, and then I just repeatedly stamp, and the magic of that press is it stays exactly where I want it. And I just repeat this, and I try and fit on as many onto that page as I can. So I do get 2 of the bigger flower and 2 of the smaller flower. Oh, actually I get 3 of the smaller flower. Okay, so they are stamped. Then I give it a quick heat gun just to seal. I used an archival ink, but I just want to make sure it's really dry and sealed. And then I grab my watercolours. My favourites are the Brighter Than Bright, WCBM04. They're on the left of the screen, and on the right is the Bold and Bright, WCBM01. And I've started with yellow in the centre, and then I'm using a colour around the edge that I know when it mixes with yellow will make another lovely blend of colour. So in this one I'm using a lovely green or an aqua. It's probably more of an aqua, and then when it mixes with the yellow I get a bit of lime in there as well. Same with the pink and yellow. It gives me a little bit of an orange. Now you can see I'm also going, I'm not very particular about my colouring, I go way over the lines, but that's because I'm going to cut them out. So I also don't cut them out perfectly, and I think because they're that messy style of stamp, which I love, it just lends itself to that not being too perfect. So I've done the same with another yellow and pink, and then I also did a red and yellow as well. So once they are done, I will dry them and make sure they're really dry, and then I will cut them out. So that's what I'm doing here. Sorry, I bumped my screen and it went might have made you feel a bit sick. Okay, so now I've cut them all out and I'm working out where I want to put them on my page, and I've decided to just sort of focus on the two opposite corners, and I cut quite a few of them in half just to give me more without having to colour more. So I kind of place them where I think I will want them, and then I'm adding to this with the same stamp. There's a couple of sort of stemmy blossoms in there, so I'm stamping them so they look like they're coming out from underneath the flowers, and directly onto my page, and then I will colour those as well. So for anything like this, I do use a stamping block. If I want real precision in my stamping, I will use a stamping block. But if I want to just create backgrounds, then I don't want it to be perfectly even, so that's when I don't use a acrylic block. So I'm doing the same thing. I've added the yellow, and then I'm adding another colour and just letting them merge. And you can see I'm going outside the lines, but as I said, I think this style lends itself to that. Okay, and then I decide I need a little bit more colour in my page, so I grab another one of the new stamps called ABMBB stamp 124, called Romantic Florals, and it's got these really cool paint splatter. There's 3-4 different ones in there, so what I'm doing is I'm using actually Distress Oxide, and I'm just stamping randomly those paint splatters onto my page. Now at this point, I actually I'm in a real rut. I nearly edited the video, and I thought, no, I will let you see actually exactly what I'm doing. So I decide I needed some more black in across the center of my page. I again later decide I don't want that there, so you'll see me cut that out a bit later. But at this stage, I thought, oh, this doesn't look right. And this is sometimes what happens with my art journaling. I don't have an end product in mind. I'm just playing, and sometimes I do things that I think, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. And when that happens, there is this wonderful thing called white gesso, and you will see that that comes into play in a minute. So I'm adding a little bit more colour. I wasn't so happy with the oxide colours. I really love the art by Marlene Paints, and that they're a bit bolder. So using again that stamp, I wish I could remember what that shape's called. It's like sort of sequins. Oh, Punchinella, that's what it's called. And I've come in with Ballet, which is the pink, Mermaid, and Azure, which is your blues. And I've just added a little bit more depth around the outside again. Okay, so now I'm gluing down the flowers with this multi-glue, which is awesome, ABM ES Glue 01. I'm kind of only putting glue, I'm not gluing the entire edges down because I want them to sit up a bit, because I've got flowers in the background and then I want some sitting up. Okay, this is when I realise, oh my god, it's just a mess, an absolute mess. The eye does not know where to look. I've kind of overdone everything. So this is where I come in with some gesso, and you'll see the magic of gesso. It just kind of wipes out quite a bit of that background. I think I do a bit more on the right in a minute. Okay, now that I can focus my eye again, and I really want to keep the eye looking around the edges at the moment, so I use stamps from that. This is from the first floral step, the Floral Simplicity stamp 122, and it's got these gorgeous sort of botanical stamps. So just with black ink, I am stamping them coming out from the flowers, and I also then decide okay, I need to put some definition into those edges. So I come in with some black paint, but I water it down, and I just kind of colour in a little bit around the flowers and sort of in that on the very corners, just to give a bit of shadowing and a bit of depth. So the bit I just did then was blocking out that other side, which I thought I had done. So to me, that looks a lot better now. I've sort of got a more white space, and that's probably where I'll put my quote. But I'm much happier. It doesn't, even though it's still grungy and messy, it doesn't look sort of, it was too much, it was too scattery. So now I am just bringing some of those words that I'd stamped, those lovely little words like artist and be brave and hold on, had kind of got lost in all my other bits. So I'm just adding a little bit more. And then in the quotes, which is the Bold and Bright stickers ABMBB Stick 04, there's these gorgeous florals in there, and they happen to be the exact colours that I used in my paint. So that's just a win, that just worked. So I cut some of them in half and then poked them in and around, staying in those two clusters. It's important to just keep those clusters where they are. Otherwise it could very quickly look like a mess again. So then I've grabbed out a black quote from the sticky quotes, and it says, "You're not stuck, your heart is listening, your brain is learning, your creativity is growing and preparing to bloom." And I just thought that suited the page so perfectly, because I kind of got stuck, but I pushed through, and I actually end up really liking it. So I'm just adding a few more splatters with the blue, the Mermaid, Azure, Ballet and Happy, which is blue, pinks and yellows paint. So I've just splattered them around the edges again, and that's pretty much it. So then I've just popped it into my album. So I'll leave you with a few close-ups, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I think it's good to watch my process, especially when it always doesn't go as I hope. So thank you, bye.